Iolani Holesky, St. Johns County naturalist. I'm out here with James Bullock, who's, I would call him an historian of St. Augustine and also a really good interpreter of the history of this area. James has a few more things he'd like to share with us. Tell me more, James, about the history and what you think about these parks.
Hello. 100 years ago is the turning point of when more Americans lived in cities than in farms. If you live in a farm or a rural area, the idea of a park may not seem as important to you. But as a safe place for children to play and for our communities to have a focal point, I believe they are very important. Now, I had the honor a couple of years ago to be a part of a delegation from Florida doing research about how we can make our sites here in Florida more inclusive and more relevant. So we were looking for ways to present history in a way that doesn't offend people, but is still honest and accurate.
Yes, sir.
And so we learned a great deal about the areas around South Carolina and Charleston, and something unexpected came up, which was not historical per se, but was the fact that their city pays a large amount out of their bed tax money for parks and recreation. And the reason that was explained to us for this was that the local residents of Charleston were thrilled to have tourists, but not thrilled to have so many tourists that all of their favorite places like Folly Beach and downtown Charleston were essentially inaccessible to them. So what they did was they created an emerald necklace of parks on the outskirts of Charleston that they spared no expense. They had a park for rock climbers, and a park for kayakers, and a park for bird watchers, so that in the peak tourist season, the local people had somewhere to go, because the average tourist was not coming to Charleston to rock climb or go to a park.
That's right.
So it makes sense in terms of the flow of people. There's no reason to be stuck in a traffic jam going to some place that's supposed to be relaxing. There's no sense in going to a place for peace and relaxation only to find that it is filled with noise pollution. So our agreement as a society is that we share our spaces and that people are included in that process. So I would like to see St. Johns County think about how they can improve and grow upon what is already a wonderful park system.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong. It includes, say, for example, the small park that's next to the amphitheater. It's my understanding
Arboretum. Yeah.
this arboretum is a prototype here of what's called forest bathing.
That's right.
And that, again, as an urban dweller, all of these things were new to me. The idea of the ecology, the environment, and recycling. But now that the world is a smaller place, this is much more important to me, and it's probably of greater significance. And so I think our parks are that outlet valve where people can say, I can go to this place and I feel better in a few minutes. Now, the Japanese and in Finland, they have expanded on this. There's scientific research.
That's right.
To show the results of what the trees put out and all living plants. And it struck me that this was very native or indigenous in its concept, so that our parks should also be reflective of not only their original landscape, but their cultural resources and richness. So come out to these parks. We have a dog playground here.
Sure.
And a skate park for young people. There's racquetball, there's pickleball, there's tennis, there's softball, soccer. And why are these important? Because we live in a society that we had 60% obesity, maybe what we're really talking about in this pandemic is health and wellness. And parks and recs are a part of health and wellness.
And you're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic
Yes.
that we're currently in.
Right.
Right.
That maybe it is our individual responsibility to lead as healthy lives as we possibly can.